like it's now a threat, it's killing livelihood and even claiming lives of people, we always have groups from the pastoralist communities from different parts of the country, especially the arid and semi-arid areas, calling upon the national government to intervene. And we see, as he said, different development partners coming in and donating food and other things. So what really do county government do to ensure that they protect, especially in arid and semi-arid counties? What do they do? What is their role in this? Do we have any finances directed to supporting communities to avert future crisis?
Thank you, Purity. Yeah. I think, Purity, first and foremost, we must appreciate the issue of devolved functions. Mm-hmm. We have been yearning and crying for our own leadership. And thanks to Allah, we have been given the opportunity to run our own resources. We have a government in place that is run by the governor. We have the executive. We have the county assembly, of course, who have the oversight of the government. And if we will cry again and we say that, oh, it's hitting us, it's going to be very unfortunate. I think, as I already said, the county government has a responsibility in terms of preparedness for any eventuality. Knowing that drought is recurring every time and then, the county government needs to put strategies to avert the impact of that drought.
Yeah, and allow me to cut you short. In other words, you're saying that counties are failing? Indeed,
yes, partially.
Yeah.
Because how much is, of course, in many times, how much is allocated to agriculture? How much is allocated to, say, livestock? Because the economic backbone of the people of asal areas is livestock. What strategies have been put in place to ensure that we take care of those livestock? What strategies have been put in place to ensure that there is adequate production? Of course, I will not rule out the issue of lack of resources. With that minimal resources, if we plan very well, I think we can be able to produce. As I was telling you, I told you that we have a pastoral livelihood and agricultural livelihood communities, some along the river and others in the pastoral areas.
Right.
What we need to do is synergize this community. The county government does not need to buy relief from Nairobi. We have a river. Can we produce? Of course, the issue of power is an issue, but we have adequate sunshine. If you can have solar system installed in those areas, and even the county can take over all those farms and and plant maize, there can be adequate production of maize. Purity, in the 70s, FAO was doing a project in Border Point, one of those areas.
Yeah.
Indeed, the production of maize from those areas were being taken to places like Wajir and those areas. We had adequate food in store. So why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? I think what we need to do is we need to utilize these resources. The water resource, the sunshine is a resource, the human resource is a resource, and then come up with a strategy to improve livelihood. I was in Israel, and indeed that is a place that is a desert. But when you look at it, you can't imagine how it looks like. How did that come? One is the issue of technology.
Yeah.
Two is the issue of management of resources, water. You find that plantations are using drips, a small drip, and then you find, and then what has surprised me most is there are layers.
Yeah.
We have down layers, up layers, even in the air, people are growing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think with improved technology and human resource and commitment from the leadership of the county, we'll be able to say that drought will not be having much impact on the pastoral community.
Yeah. And Abdikadir, you work on the grassroots level. What are some of the challenges that are really a great hindrance to the implementation of some of these agricultural technologies to ensure that lives are not lost if, for example, we are threatened by another drought?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I'll come to that point. But we have a mention as a former clerk to the county council.
Yeah.
I do feel I can make some comments about the county government.
Sure.
County government initially, when the whole system was put in place, people were just excited. Resources seemed to overwhelmed, you know, from a very low level, of resources to a very high level of resource management seemed to have overwhelmed in the initial stages. The other issue is the human resources. The human resources, have they really been sufficiently trained? Have they taken the concept of devolution and conceptualized it? Has it gone into their blood? Do they really understand it is about service delivery? Have they put it on themselves? So maybe I'll give them some benefit of doubt in the sense that they are still in the making. We are just 10 years and a bit over. For this system to properly function and address the needs of the people, they probably will need a bit of time. Now, the issue of agricultural production issues. Like His Excellency is trying to put, yes, we can produce food from River Dawa, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Really, at what cost? Are we able to invest in the solar systems and take our water through and irrigation through solar system? That one can work if an effort is put into the solar system in irrigating the about 4,000 or 10,000 hectares of land along the river from what His Excellency said from border point 1 to Malkamari is a distance of about 150 miles, you know. So it needs deliberate effort, a concerted effort to make sure that we are able to produce something in the county.
Yeah, and you know, we've seen, you've been in the government. Maybe you can tell us what are some of the challenges, because government officials always take trips to some of these countries leading in agriculture technology. The CS for Agriculture, Mithika Linturi, this year he went to Israel. So we have the technical know-how, but what's really stopping the implementation of some of these technology that could help support farmers and even people living in arid and semi-arid counties?
I think, Purity, one thing that we need to do is first, any visit made, there must be a result for it.
Yeah.
Okay? If a county officer visits Israel, he can't be able to give a presentation on what he saw there.
And even implement a project.
And implement a project. But one thing that is there is the technology. I think what we lack is the technology. And we don't have resources to enable us have those technologies. Because there are a lot of machines, a lot of things, a lot of that. Okay? But that, we cannot say that that left aside, we cannot be able to do anything.
Yeah.
That, you know, there's a Chinese saying which says that any journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step.
Exactly.
As county government, if we can say, okay, we move from this and do this, I believe we can be able to give a result. Water is a critical item in terms of drought mitigation. Yeah? Efficient and effective use of those waters will be able to give us a result. We have a running water. Many times when it rains, you see water floods just run down like that and join the river. Can we be able to harness those resources, come up with big dams, okay, fix their solar system? If you fix their solar system, we have adequate sanction. There's no cost in it. Okay? We have, as nomadic assistance for peace and development, we have installed several solar systems in those areas, in boreholes, And even some farmers, we have given them the solar systems. And indeed, they are seeing the result. One time we have fixed a borehole, a solar system, and say, this is a surprise.
Yeah.
Because they are seeing that water is flowing. They can't hear the sound of the engine because they are used to that engine. And there is water flowing all the time. So day and night, the water can be able to flow. And there's adequate science in that. So can we be able to use these resources? Of course, the challenge that the counties have is initially, in the national government, there used to be field officers who could be able to go to the farmers, give them training, give them this, give them that. But now, our county governments are giving minimal resources. Minimal resources to agriculture industry. You find that the core person who is concerned in agricultural production is the director because he is the specialist on that. At the end of the day, what reaches the director of agriculture, what reaches the director of veterinary, what reaches the director of medicine is very, very minimal.
Yeah.
We have other cadres of people here. We have the CEC, we have the chief officer, we have others. So can we be able to reach those people, the technical persons actually, and give them, okay, we want production. Have a meeting with them. Tell them, okay, my friend, Mandera County, I want to have a production of 100,000 tons of maize, 100,000 tons of say, simsim, and whatever. Tell him, okay, what is your requirement to produce this? He'll be able to say, okay, one is this and that and that, and list down all that. After you do that, give him the money and tell him, okay, I want the result. Okay? You can be able to send his field officers because these are people who are ideally not used by the counties. We have raised several when we were part of the system, but it has not picked up. So what we need to do is target those technical persons to produce a result.
Yeah.
If you will not be doing that, then we are not doing anything. Yeah? And then prioritize our resources in terms of needs. In terms of needs. So drought being something with us all the time, as county governments, run by our own voice, we need to come up with a strategy that is going to have impact on the local community. Yeah.
And Abdikadir, as we speak, most of the time, especially after the Kenya Meteorological Department predicts that we're going to experience short rains, then we see farmers being encouraged especially to plant crops that are not long-term crops, but the ones that take short time to mature. But as far as the pastoralist communities are concerned, do we have so far proposed alternative sources of livelihood so that, because they already know when there's drought, their livestock is going to die? Yeah.
Yeah. They will be eager when they get the alert that the short rains are going to fail.
Yeah.
The first thing that to come to the livestock owner's mind is to sell this animal.
Yeah.
And there would be no that much capacity of market which can take the livestock. The other one is the Kenya Meat Commission, where people can bring their animals to. It is very far away, although now I'm told since the military is now operating, it is doing better. But I was a commissioner on a Kenya Meat Commission for 2 terms, and that place, the opportunity it has for livestock is great. Why it could not function and did not perform is absolutely on the failure of the Ministry of Livestock. It has been failed by Ministry of Livestock with a vested interest. I was there for 6 years.
Yeah.
When His Excellency President Kibaki was there. When it was in a lull for 15 years, I was among the first commissioners who were put there to turn around and make it operational. We made that thing operational within 6 months under a leadership of Managing Commissioner as Mr. James Kimonye. You know, that thing was interrupted because of vested interest from Minister of Livestock. Now that the military has put it in order, and I'm told is now functioning properly, the livestock owners have the opportunity to first bring their animal to Kenya Meat Commission, because they can slaughter and can the meat, give to our army, export it. So that's the first opportunity.
Yeah.
The other alternative, livelihood alternative, is really not yet in place. But what I'm always thinking as a person in a civil society organization, we can encourage our, the number of people living, the agro-pastoralists living along the river are just a small fraction of the pastoralists. The pastoral population is 80% of our people. Of the about 800,000, 100 million population of Mandera, 80% of that live on livestock.
Yeah.
And that, of the biggest portion of that, maybe is about 10% who live along the river as a pastoral agricultural pastoral community. The rest are in the other lands. So to encourage them in dry land farming.
Yeah.
What I have in mind, if you, as you move in the Ukambani, Akamba land,
Yeah.
you see a lot of fruits being produced, a lot of food on the road. That kind of thing, if we encourage our people to go as an alternative livelihood into dry land farming,
Yeah.
our land is fertile. If you create just some large dams, remember, was it in Makweno or Machakos? The governor put a lot of dams, and I was listening to people saying, now, or thanks to God, we have water throughout,
Yeah.
we can farm our land, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we get far more money for the county government than Machakos or Makweni.
Yeah.
So that kind of a targeted project to create alternative livelihoods in the county, it would be very, the system now we use, when it is drought, the animal perish. When we get some rain, then we now restock again. We buy some animals and give to, the next drought comes and it is the same issue.
Yeah.
So so we really need to think of, the other thing is like beekeeping, chicken keeping, which is not very common in our place. Beekeeping does very well. Right now, His Excellency knows a place called Banisa. Banisa sub-county in Mandera produces a lot of honey. If we encourage that one,
Yeah.
and maybe support them to be able to value addition and produce it in some form, in a presentable form.
Yeah.
That kind of livelihood, if the county government focuses and really assists, can be able to do something.
Yeah. All right. And as we wind up, maybe you can tell us on the level of awareness, because sometimes communities are not even aware on these alternative sources of livelihood that they can employ, especially during dry season. So moving forward, maybe what would you like to see this government do to ensure that, because we're looking at the steps that Kenya should take to avert the next drought? Yeah.
Thank you, Purity. I think one thing that is very important, before I dwell on the strategies that can be put in place, one thing that we have to know is the population of this country is growing.
Yeah.
The population of our counties is growing. But the land size does not grow. Okay? Say, Mohammed, I have 100 camels. Okay? I have, say, 10 children. If each of those children will have 100 camels each, and the children of those children will each want to have 100 camels.
Yeah.
Can this land be able to accommodate that?
No.
It's an issue that we need to think of. People are still in their own way of thinking that livestock is a pride. We need to put strategies in place to ensure that this number of livestock, which are just kept for pride, is reduced.
Yeah.
And somebody keeps something that can be able to, is sustaining. And the rest it sells, it cases children, builds surplus.
Yeah.
These are strategies that we need to think of. On the issue of diversification, well, I mean, it's a very crucial thing. The county government one time initiated fishing ponds along the river. But you know, the local community there, of course, see that fish is a snake, and the consumption is not there. So it died off actually. NAPAD, along with the farmers along the river, initiated a beekeeping initiative.
We gave time is not on our side. We have to.
We gave them bee hives, and they were able to produce honey and sell it. But what I'm saying is, you must put on board the local community, get actors from the pastoral community, actors from the agro-pastoral community, get specialist technical people, and the county should give direction with these people. The politicians, of course, the councillor, the MCA, of course, the technical persons at the ground level, the veterinary specialists, the health specialists, the education specialists, the agriculture specialists, and decide a strategy to ensure that we are food secure. That is
all right.
The intervention that we need to put in place.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mohammed Ahmed Arai, former Deputy